Hi everyone, welcome to Badass ABCs by Happiness Homemade for You. Thank you for subscribing to our YouTube channel and for liking our Facebook page. This is lesson A6 spelling test list. Remember that Badass ABC adults write each word 5 times. They create their own spelling lists from words in their own environment. They put the words in ABC order, and they practice every day. Welcome back to Happiness Homemade for You, Badass ABCs. We are now on lesson A6. A6 is our spelling test list. Whew, we made it through the tough stuff, and now we are going to practice what we learned. Now, why do we do spelling lists? So many of us think that we're going to need to memorize how to spell every single word in the English language, but I showed you that unabridged dictionary. Papers. No, you don't have to do all of that. The reason that you're going to practice spelling the words that we've learned is that your brain is going to learn all of the rules that we've been talking about. Once you practice a few of those words with that rule, the next time you come across another word that has the rule, your brain will already know it. Okay, so what I'm going to do is break down 4 different levels of spelling lists, okay? And let's just get in there. There's so much I want to say. I'm actually trying some new lighting today, and I just appreciate everybody hanging in there with me. I'm still trying to get all of the foundation done and prepared for all of the lessons, since we have 260 lessons we're going to be putting together, and I still don't know how to fix my lighting. Took me 2 hours just to learn how to work my microphone. In fact, actually, I can hear my earrings jingling, so I'm afraid that's going to come up on the mic. Whatever, we're in this together, we're a team, we are all learning new things. So let's just keep on moving. It's all right if it's not perfect. Let's see. Spelling tests list for level 1. All I want you to do every day, once a day, I want you to write every single letter of the alphabet. And I already have that video up on the YouTube channel that shows you how to spell every single letter of the alphabet. So spelling list time should take you about 15 minutes to 30 minutes once a day, so that you are constantly reminding your brain to make those connections on getting those shapes to have a sound, and also writing practice. Okay, so let's see. So level 1, very simple. I want you to write the alphabet, whether or not you know this sound. I hope you have your cheat sheet. Just copy that cheat sheet, so by the time that we get to that letter that you keep forgetting what it's called or what it sounds like, by the time we get to that lesson, you're going to be chomping at the bit to know what that letter is. So do your best to just write out the entire ABCs. Start to make friends with the ABCs. Get to know them. Get to know who you like and who you don't like. Okay? For level 2 readers, what I'm going to do is all of those words that we've been going through in the previous lessons, we are going to pull out all of the words that are 1-syllable words. They're going to have the letter A in them, but they just have 1 syllable. Those of you who hung in there through lesson A5 all the way till the end, just right at the end of the lesson I mentioned that words can have more than 1 syllable. And I'm not going to explain exactly how that works right now, but there's like almost a beat that you can hear in the word, and 1 syllable has 1 beat, and more than that has more than 1 beat. Excuse me. All right, I'm not explaining this really well, but hang in there, people, because I'm like seriously overwhelmed with everything I've been trying to learn as fast as I can. So welcome to your spelling list, because it might be difficult for you too. All right. I'm going to need to put on my reading glasses, I think, here. Okay, and here we go. So make sure that you have Don't spend a whole bunch of money, people. Make sure that you have something. A notebook. I got this one at the dollar store. Okay, where you're going to write down your spelling words. That one has some lined. I got this one at the thrift store, actually. Okay, it's got some lined paper for me to practice. You got nothing? Costs $1 to grab one of these. Okay? You don't need to get fancy. Just practice. Here we go. Level 2. Your spelling list for this week is late. E makes the A say its name. Late. L-A-T-E. Date. D-A-T-E. E makes the A say its name. Date. D-A-T-E. What else do we got? I want you to pick 10. I picked more than that, but stick with 10 so you don't get overwhelmed. Pick 10 of the ones I'm going to put up here. D-A-Y. Sometimes when the Y is there, the Y is going to make the A say its name. Day. D-A-Y. The other word that we practiced with was clay. C-L-A-Y. What else did we have? Oh, we talked about hat. Having the short A sound. Ah. H-A-T. What do we got next? Oh, this one was tricky. This one's tricky because it has a letter combination in it that we'll be talking about later. Laugh. L-A-U-G-H. In the previous lessons, we had one example where GH was silent, and we also have where GH makes the F sound, which is the sound of the letter F. Okay, so this is a tricky one. L-A-U-G-H. Ha ha. I'm not laughing either. But we will when we know how to read. Moving on. It is worth it. Another word to choose from. Bread. Where we have that E and an A together, but we didn't get to hear the A. Okay? Sometimes we don't hear that letter, but it's in there. B-R-E-A-D. Oops, a little bit sloppy. How about when we see that E-A together, only we hear the E instead of the A. Again, that A, we don't hear it. When you're wearing a beaded necklace, bead, B-E-A-D. B-E-A-D, bead. We had another example of this E-A combination where we don't hear the A. We hear the E instead, and that was you and me, baby. Team. T-E-A-M. Okay? What else did we have? I got a few more I picked. Oh! Boat. Because that one was a weird one to sound out. You got to know this rule. The O-A together, sometimes this A is going to be silent. Boat. B-O-A-T. Plus, that's one of my favorite songs. I'm on a boat. How about, here's one. This annoyed me very much. After all of that note-taking, we did not cover this sound when we were going through the phonemes and the graphemes. All. All is spelled A-L-L. And I'm noticing through our lessons that A makes that sound all the time. We've covered the long A sound, A, where it says its name. We've covered the short A sound where it says ah. We've covered all this funky stuff, and yet it never came up in my notes of everything that I studied that it can also make this aw sound, which is kind of a little bit like the sound of the letter O. Anyway, so I'm going to put that one in there because we've been coming across it a bunch, that sound, aw, for the letter A. A-L-L. Spells aw. Okay, we talked about AI together, air. We talked about the EA together, influenced by R, the bad influence, B-E-A-R, made the air sound, bear. Okay, what else do I got? Good golly, lots to choose from. Like I said, pick 10. Don't overwhelm yourself. Dollar, D-O-L-L-A-R, dollar, influenced by R. And how about a couple of other different ones? Let's see. I remember we did air, and then we did another one where you sit down. What do we sit on that has that air sound on in it? Chair. C-H-A-I-R. The reason I wanted to put this one on the spelling list is I think some of you have noticed that this letter combination has its own sound, ch. The letter C has the sound k. The letter H has the sound h. But when you put them together, it's not ch-ha. It's not ka-ha. It's ch. It has its own sound. So if you want to practice that one, go for it, because C, letter C, is coming up soon. And care. Care. We all get tired, but we care. We care about learning new things. So I wanted to put that one in there to encourage you. Remember, E makes the A say its name. Care. C-A-R-E. And I'm going to give you that bonus word, naked. Those of you who went through the sound search with us of Adam and Eve, I know that you were staring at that picture and you were saying, naked, naked. I can hear the long A sound, naked. All righty, fine then. You get the bonus word, naked. N-A-K-E-D. Notice we got that E makes the A say its name rule going on here. Naked. All right, I am going to go through and do what I recommend that you do for level 2. I want you to go around after you've spelled them all and circle the letter A. Okay? It's like sending a big old hug. Hi, A. How you doing, girlfriend? Give you a big old hug. Gonna get up close and personal with you. Okay? You know what I noticed is we don't have a capital letter. Anybody remember any of the words that had a capital A in it? I remember Adam. I remember this. I made a boo-boo. I'll put Andy on here if you want to do a capital A. Okay, because I'll give you 2 options. When we were doing the sentence edit, the Steve Martin one for level, let me see, the Steve Martin is reading level 3 with all that alliteration, and I spelled Andy the way that, I have a friend named Andy, and so I was spelling it the way that my friend's name is spelled. And then after I was editing the video, I saw that Steve Martin in the book had used a different spelling, which I have seen before too. And so I'll put that correction in here. So if you want to choose either one, both, whatever. In the book, he used the spelling A-N-D-I-E. I-E, that makes the E sound. Y can make the E sound. So both of these are the correct spelling of Andy. You got to ask your friend how they spell their name. Okay, did I spell this one for you? A-N-D-Y. Okay, plenty kind to choose from. Hello, sexy thing. All right, go ahead, pick 10. Make sure that you spend at least 15 minutes once a day, Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, however your week works, practice them, and if you do have a partner, see if they can test you on the end of the week, where someone says to you, spell the word dollar, and you don't see it, but you have to try to remember how to spell it. Okay? Let's see. And we are moving on to, I'm going to erase the board, and we're going to come back for spelling test for level 3. Be right back. All right, peoples, here we go. Lesson A6, Badass ABCs. We are on spelling test list for grade level 3 or reading level 3. And what we're going to do is I picked from the lessons that we've done already, I picked the words that had more than one syllable. More than one syllable. I really don't know what a syllable is. I'm going to tell you straight up, peoples. I don't know what a syllable is. All I've ever really understood is that there's a beat. There's a sound to the word where I can hear that the word splits up. When we were kids, we just used to clap to listen to the beat of the song. So I've never understood anything more than that, and I have survived all right in life with that. So if you want to learn more, get a friend to Google it. Okay, talk to that doctorate person, that person who's got the doctorate in education who's watching this video judging me. You ask that person. And then tell me. Thanks. Let's see. Double syllable words. All right. We talked in lesson 1 about one of my first words. I think it was the first word we did was a bacon. Bacon. Here we go. Again, you're going to only choose 10 of the ones that I found. Pick 10 of them. But we've got bacon. Bacon. B-A-C-O-N. Is my marker giving up? Come on. Cut me some slack. No quitters. We might take a break, but no quitters. All right. And we did dollar for level 2, but that does have 2 syllables. I should have marked that one as a bonus for level 2. Dollar, dollar, dollar. Okay. D-O-L-L-A-R. Okay, how about, sorry if I was putting that up in front of you. Oh, one of the names that we did was Adam. Adam has 2 syllables. Adam. A-D-A-M. Adam. Andy from the lesson from level 2 list. That has 2 syllables. Good job noticing that. Antlers. Antlers. From the sound search lesson. Antlers. A-N-T-L-E-R-S. Antlers. Animals. Animals. From the sound search. Animals. A-N-I-M-A-L-S. What else did we have? We had the bonus word from level 2, naked. Naked. And we're going to spell that. What are these letters? N-A-K-E-D. Apple. Apple. That has 2 syllables. We've seen this one so many times. You guys know how to spell it yet? A-P-P-L-E. Apple. And what was the other one? Longer? Appletini. Let's see. A, P, P, L, E, T, I, N, I. Appletini. How many? Appletini. 4 syllables. Okay, oh my goodness, poor Antibes. If somebody in France is watching these videos, I just sincerely apologize. Antibes. Antibes. We have 2 syllables. And I'll explain why I am apologizing. When I did the lesson, I did not know what Antibes was. Is this a city? I don't know. Then I had that conversation with my boyfriend, and I corrected myself in the next video, explaining that he had said it was an island. Then we had a conversation after I did the next lesson, and then I got corrected. No, I had misunderstood what we were talking about when we were talking. Antibes. So finally I Googled it. I'll put a shot up on the screen. Antibes is a resort community in France. Looks to me more like it's on a peninsula, but okay, come on back. Here we go. We're gonna spell it. Look, I might not know where it is or what it is on the planet, but I do know how to spell it, and that's what I'm teaching here. I really was never good at geography. But all right, I'll learn. Okay, Antibes. A-N-T-I-B-E-S. Antibes. If you want to add that one to your spelling list, I appreciate it, so you can show some respect for Antibes. All right, here's another big word. Alphabet. Alphabet. How many syllables did you hear in there? Alphabet. 3 syllables. We're going to come across this quite a bit. The PH combo, making that F sound. A-L-P-H-A-B-E-T. Where are we at? Okay, two more to choose from. Anchovy. Anchovy, that kind of fish. It's a little tiny, super salty fish. Anchovy. Okay, those of you who are from another country, anchovy used to be put on pizza. Some places still put it on pizza, which is a common American food. I don't know why. It's so salty. It's this little tiny fish, super salty. Which I think is kind of humorous, or why he put it in the book. I don't know. The reason I wanted to pick anchovy again is that CH combination also that's coming up. Letter C is coming up very soon. So if you want to practice that, it's coming. A-N-C-H-O-V-Y. Anchovy. And, oh, here was another boo-boo I need to fix. Okay, if you were rocking and rolling with us all the way through lesson A5 sentence edits, all the way through level 4, when I was copying, I completely, after a while I was editing, I noticed I completely missed an apostrophe S, which we have not talked about yet. So this is going to be a bonus one if you want to do it. Okay, capitals. It was in the story, it was talking about the capital. And the capital, there's capital, which is the capital letter, and then there's the capital, which is the capital of our country, Washington, D.C. And that is spelled C-A-P-I-T-A-L. It has a capital letter in capital because capital spelled this way, and when you're talking about it in that manner, is the name of where our country's base is, where our government base is. So it has its own name called the capital. So you can capitalize it And my boo-boo that I did when I was copying it, because we hadn't talked about it yet, is an apostrophe S. So like I said, this is a bonus. If you want to try and go for it, apostrophe looks just like a comma. Remember, we've done commas now that are like a period at the bottom of the line. An apostrophe looks just like a comma, only it's higher up. And what this means is it belongs to the capital. And that's why I'm not going to, it's going to come up later in other lessons. So it's strictly a bonus. If you want to try and practice what that is so that you're more prepared when it comes, go for it. Okay, so for level 2, I had you circle the letter A. That's another thing that you can do if you're still learning the letters of the alphabet and you're actually level 1 or 2 and you're picking up a couple extra words that you want to practice. Go for that. I'm going to show you, as we close out this lesson 3, I'm going to mention something that that a lot of kids that I taught seem to enjoy. I don't know why, it wasn't my style, but I'm going to talk about this style later. Some people like to outline the shape of the word. Helps, I'm not sure, but what I think it did was it helped them realize that some letters were taller and some were shorter. Or it's one big hug. You know, instead of my little tiny hugs, it's just like me, yeah, I'm all over you. Getting to know your shape, getting to know all your curves. I don't know, but I've just seen enough students who enjoyed doing this, so I thought I'd just do this little demonstration. Okay, for some reason it helped them remember and memorize the word, so I thought I'd toss that in there. I'll talk about it again in just a little bit. Okay, and lastly, level 4 spelling test, list, not exactly. You need to start making your own list. If you are at the reading level 4, because I get messages all the time from people who they can text me and they can message me. They're working on their spelling, but they can sound out quite a bit. So if you are there at that level 3 or 4, it's time for you to start making your own spelling list, because you are coming across words in your life, in your environment, that you're struggling. Okay, well, get that little notepad up on your refrigerator and start making your own list every time that you see a word that you don't know. My boyfriend, he's like a linguistic nut. The guy does have one of those, cell phone apps that gives you a word of the day. And sometimes he'll text me what the word of the day is, because it has a really fascinating definition. And he tries to incorporate that new word somehow into a conversation. So if you're at that 3-4 level, this is a skill you can use for the rest of your entire life. It's going to take your entire life to be able to memorize every single word in the English language. So don't worry about it. You have to just practice. Get your own list that's on your refrigerator, and every time you come across a new word, add it to your spelling list, so that the next time that you're practicing your spelling words, you're practicing what this new word is. Okay? Make sure that you are always a lifetime learner. Okay? Lifelong learner. Okay. Aside from that, your own list that you're working on from your own environment, when we did the sentence edit for level A, for during lesson A5, I had the steampunk for letter A all written out. If you want to really challenge yourself, I would actually recommend that you challenge yourself to take those 2 sentences and practice writing them all. Practice writing them all. That will be more than just practicing how to write a word by itself, you can actually get yourself to practice how to space each word, to read a sentence and then to get it on paper with spaces in between the words. And you also, when you're doing that, and you might recall this when we were doing the lesson, you could hear me read a few words and then I would look down and not look back. That's exactly what you're doing when you're practicing your spelling, is you want to be able to see the word once and then remember what it was when you're not looking at it and try to spell it. Okay? So I hope that makes sense. Try and take this lesson and rewrite it neater and neater. Alrighty, so that's going to be your list to choose from. Don't overwhelm yourself. And let me see, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, okay, so the next lesson is called Pickup Line Story Time. Lesson 7 is Pickup Line Story Time. I hope it's fun. It's going to be a very, very short lesson. And what I'm doing is, since I've talked about it a ton of times, I don't have adult books that are written at the earlier reading levels. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to do my best to make one extremely short story where you are going to read it on your own. Just like you go to the library and you pick up an easy reader to take home and read in private, I'm going to try to make one that is adult content, easy reader. So it's really just fun, and you'll see why. You'll see why it's my favorite lesson. You'll see why. Okay, now what I'm going to do is I have been needing to make a video of ways to practice your spelling words instead of just writing them down, because writing them down is awesome sauce. Do that. But there's a lot of other ways that you can practice spelling, because like I said, we're not doing spelling practice in order to memorize how to spell every single word. What we're actually learning is the rules. All of the rules that we've been picking up hints about. When you practice, you teach yourself those rules. You teach your brain to recognize those rules automatically. So I've actually had a lot of messages over the past few years talking about how to practice spelling words. So if you're all wrapped up and you have already watched the video about ways to practice your spelling, fast forward and I will see you at lesson A7. Pickup Line Story Time. If this is the first time you're watching it through, hang in there, because I'm going to do some more explaining, and it's going to come out as a separate video. Since I get so many questions for suggestions, I'm going to make it also into a separate video clip so that I can quickly send that link to the people who've been asking me for those. Okay, other than that then, keep on rocking. Holy in the moly. Can you believe we are on lesson A6? And remember, I'm explaining a lot during the set for letter A, because once we get to letter B and move on, I'm not explaining anymore. I'm not explaining myself anymore. I'm going to do it without apology, and we're going to start cranking through these lessons a lot faster. Okay, let's see. We got it? Ready? Rock? See ya. Thank you for watching Badass ABCs by Happiness Homemade for You. If you have already watched the video of suggestions on how to practice your spelling lists, please fast forward through this ending and join us for lesson A7 for Pickup Line Story Time. If not, please stay with us for some additional advice on how you can enjoy practicing your spelling words. Hop over to the Facebook page if you would like to use the resources that were made for this lesson. They are free for download. Hop over to the Facebook page, click on Photos on the left-hand side, click on See All on the right-hand side, find the letter of the lesson that you are studying, and you will find all of the resources in there. Thank you for joining us. Hi, welcome to Happiness Homemade for You. Badass ABCs. I'm making this video specifically for those of you who have messaged me asking for additional ways to practice your spelling lists. So if you are a teacher for students that are under the age of 18, I do not recommend this program. This program is going to have adult language in it. It is designed, my target audience is adults. However, if you as the adult are looking for some ideas on practicing some spelling, different ways to make practicing your spelling words fun, this is a resource for you, the adult, okay, as well as the ABC, my badass ABC adult. I'm going to have my cheat sheet here because I'm referring back to actually, you know what, I'm going to grab the book. There we go, I'm back. So when I was teaching elementary school, that was when this particular theory came out about multiple intelligences in the classroom. This book is by Thomas Armstrong. This theory really came out and became popular, and it really changed my classroom environment, because we know that normally when we're doing our spelling lists, we assign the words for the week that the students are going to study, and they write them out, which I still recommend as the #1 practice, to read the word, say the word out loud, and then copy it on a separate piece of paper so that you force the mind to remember what order the letters were and what the rules were of how to spell that word. #1, nothing's going to ever replace that. That is the best. However, I do even get messages from those who have physical disabilities and can't physically write, but they do want to practice their spelling, or they're using a computer. Whatever your limitations are, I'm hoping that you hear something that can help you practice. Let's see, do I have all of my supplies? If I have to grab something from this room, thank goodness you can't see what this room actually looks like. I'm going to break down 8 kinds of learning styles. The reason it changed my classroom dynamic is because I realized that not every student learned the same way. The American learning style is very, very linguistic based. You have to read it, write it, and that's how you learn everything. But there are actually many ways you can learn things. So I try to incorporate these in my classroom. And you can incorporate, listen for what you or your student enjoys doing, and then I'm going to give you some suggestions on ways to practice spelling words based on that learning style. So there was a new one. After I was actually done teaching elementary school, a new intelligence had been identified, and that was called naturalistic, which is #1, the one I know the least about. And everybody who knows me, when they say, let's go for a hike, let's go do this out in nature, I'm like, I remember that little video clip that says, nature, you scary. I don't like nature. I don't like it. Mostly, okay, so I'm really, really gonna not do this one well. Naturalistic is basically that student or yourself who does truly enjoy being out in nature. It's what you yearn to do the most. Naturalistic style is taking in that natural environment and enjoying all of those things. So let me see, this is why I got my reading glasses on. So some suggestions, if you think that that is your style, or that is your student's biggest interest, what you can do when you have your spelling words is you can, let's see, if you've seen these, I call it sandbox spelling. Sandbox spelling. So you can be at the beach and you're writing the words in the sand. If you're not near the beach, you can have a sandbox. They have those things in the executive offices where they've got the little sand with the little rake, and it's a calming thing. whatever. I've never understood that either. I don't even like nature in a box. Just kidding. I do love roses though. I do love when I get roses. Okay. Any type of nature interaction is just more interesting. So writing it in the sand at the beach, writing it with, let's say that you go on a hike and you're the kind of person who likes to collect leaves or little pine cones, things like that. Well, sort them out. Sort them out, and you're going to spell your words with nature. Another thing, of course, that you can do is while you're out in nature, try to see if you can see a letter in the shape of something. Is that tree branch in the curve of a C? What does it need in order to turn it into another letter? Or I can see see, look at how difficult it is for me to even think of what nature does. But you can, try to keep your eye out and start practicing those letters of the alphabet. Look for them out in the world, or write them out in the world. Okay? Let's see. Even I think a worst case scenario, even filling the bathtub with water and spelling out your spelling words in water is something that a naturalistic person would enjoy doing. Okay? Just incorporating nature into the learning. Let's try the linguistic style. That I didn't have naturalistic on my cheat sheet because it wasn't there when I was teaching elementary school. A linguistic person, they like to think in words, they love reading, they love writing, they love telling stories, they love playing word games. Who do you think is linguistic? Right? I love words. I might not be the best at everything, but I love it. Okay, so they need books, tapes, writing tools, paper, diaries, dialogue, discussion, debate, and stories. So a linguistic person is the person who does the best in the American learning style. Okay, because we have to read it all and we have to write it all, and that's how we learn. So I've shown these many times before. Those of you who are linguistic, you like writing it out. Plenty of things to find, just very inexpensively, dollar store, Walmart, okay, where you can write. Okay, all of these things are extremely inexpensive. Just get writing, and then I'm trying to find my little whiteboard. Ooh, right back. All right, I found it. Okay, I've used whiteboards many times in my lessons because it's less expensive. You can buy these again for $1 at any of those discount stores, and you can erase and erase and erase and erase and practice. You got the whiteboards. This one was a score. It had the dashed lines on it for practicing spelling if you want to. And one of the key things of this, one of the key games that I like to play, and a lot of the kids like to play it, was we'd have both students would have the spelling list and a whiteboard, and they would write one of the spelling words, they would show it to the other person, count to 5, and then turn it, and then the other person would have to write out what they could remember. If you're by yourself, if you're just that introverted linguistic person, you do the same exact thing. You look at your spelling list, look at the word for 5 seconds, turn it over, and write it out, and then check and see. That's how you practice. That's the linguistic learner. Let's see. That's one suggestion. What else did I have? What else did I have for linguistic learners? Oh, right. I got it over here. Okay, get it. Oh my gosh. Okay, who's seen this beast of a game? Scrabble. Scrabble has the tiles inside. They have more than, they have multiple copies of each letter so that there's enough letters for all the players. So you go through and you can pull out more than enough letters and use those Scrabble tiles and practice your spelling words that way. That's another way to do that. And there's another game called Boggle, which is, it's got letters on dice. That's another good idea, if that's your kind of thing. Okay, how about Another type of learner is the logical mathematical. Logical mathematical. That is not me. But they like to think by reasoning, and they love experimenting, questioning, figuring out logical puzzles, calculating, etc. Those kids who like to get those little brain teaser puzzle things and try to figure out how to undo them, you know, Rubik's Cube type of people, okay? Like my guy. My guy is all kinds of into that kind of stuff, okay? They need things to explore, things to think about. They need science materials, manipulatives. Like I said, even a Rubik's Cube is a manipulative, where a manipulative is another word for something that moves. It moves and you have to figure out how to fix that puzzle. And they like trips to the planetarium and the science museum, etc. Is that you, or is that your student? Okay, this is the suggestions that I put for logical mathematical. For practicing your spelling words is to do word searches. To do word search. They sell those at Walmart. Walmart, you can get word search books, and it's got a list of words on the side, and then you search for them. Okay? Boy, howdy, you can build your vocabulary like nobody's business. If you're an adult, go over to Walmart and start finding those word searches or crossword puzzles. Another game is memory. Does anybody remember that game from when they were a kid, where the little board game memory, and there's tons of them now, where you just have like two pictures and you have to, you spread them all out, and then you have to turn them over until you can match the words? Well, make your own. Get a bunch of scratch paper, construction paper, write your spelling word twice. Let's say you have 10 spelling words. Write them 10 times, 10 times again, turn them all over, mix them up, and then flip them over. Flip them over until you find a match. So you're playing that mathematical game in your head of making the match, but you're also practicing your linguistic style. That word is not matching that word. This word matches. Oh, where did I see it? Okay, that's the same word. Okay, that's another way that you can practice your spelling words. And what else did I put? Oh, ABC order. I do enjoy putting words in ABC order. And we do that with Badass ABCs. We take words and put them in ABC order. That is mathematical, actually. So if you like doing that, maybe we do. We're like, you know, secret mathematical people. Shh. Okay, here's another style. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. Okay. There's spatial. They think in images and pictures. Kind of visual. They love designing, drawing, visualizing, doodling. They need art, Legos, watching a video to learn something, movies, slides, imagination games, mazes, puzzles, illustrated books, trips to the art museums, etc. We also do that in Badass ABCs. We try to acknowledge those learners when we do our sound search, and we incorporate some artwork into triggering our mind about words that we're learning. So my suggestions for the visual arts, the spatial learner, is to write the word and draw a picture. Let's see. Write it in a font, alphabet. Okay, I'm going to do an example for you. Let's say, okay, let's just use the word spelling. We're talking about spelling. S-P-E-L-L-I-N-G. That visual spatial learner is the type of person who does enjoy circling the spelling word. They like to know what the shape of the word is. The visual learner also likes to enjoy drawing a picture to remember the word. Let's take, for example, cat. Now, I'm not very good at drawing. I do enjoy doodling because I'm visual. I just lack the art skills. But I have seen this and have used it myself to help me remember something. Cat, C-A-T, cat. Students like this are already drawing pictures on their paper. So when you see this, you'll be like, oh my goodness, that is such and such. Or you'll say, it's me. I'm an adult and I'm still learning the alphabet, but I doodle all the time. So this might be something you want to do. Once you put out a spelling word, let me see. See, look at me. I'm just a horrible drawer, but okay. Cat. Cat. And that's going to teach me the letter C is, oh, that's right, that's from cat. Okay? And that just makes it more fun. Another thing that a visual spatial learner is going to like is writing in fonts. Again, I am also a visual person, so I do like to write in different fonts. So, for example, in our Badass ABCs, we use Denelian. So I'm going to just do cat, which is my favorite font. But let me see, who was it? Oh, who else was there during the 80s? Who else survived the 80s? Okay, when Prince's album Purple Rain came out, I studied the cover of that album to figure out and create a font for every letter of the alphabet based on how Purple Rain was written. So cat would be something like this. A, T. Okay? So if you're a student, if you're the teacher and you have a student and you need them to write it, you need to write it in whatever block print or Denelian print, give that student permission to do a second round if they have time before the spelling test is over. You offer them. You can write it in your own font that you've created at the second round. Okay? That's a very good incentive. So those of you who are adults and already know that you enjoy doodling, this is another way that you can practice your spelling words. Okay, what are we on next? Okay, bodily kinesthetic. Now, I love dancing, okay, but there are things in here I'm like, just a failure at. But there are definitely bodily kinesthetic learners. These are the students who are always wanting to move while they are learning. You are always doing something, moving your body no matter what you're doing if you're the adult learner. Okay, they like to think through somatic sensations, feelings, okay, of the body. They love dancing, running, jumping, building, touching, talking with their hands, gesturing, okay? They need role play, drama, movement, things to build. They need sports and physical games, tactile experiences, and hands-on learning. Those science museums that you go to where the children are able to interact with the entire environment and move things, tactile learners love that. So if you are thinking that's you, you're that athletic person, these are the things that I recommend for practicing your spelling words. Learn sign language. Learn sign language. You are built to learn sign language also. Okay? C-A-T. C-A-T. While you're learning your spelling words, do it with your hands. Okay, I'm going to spell it, C-A-T, and I'm going to use my hands also. C-A-T. Sign language, you are seriously built for sign language. So I recommend learning how to do that. Spelling the word in the air. I've said many times during Badass ABCs, if you don't have paper or you can't get to the worksheets on our Facebook page, I want you doing it in the air. When you're at home, I want your hand up in the air, spelling it as we go along. C-A-T. Those of you who have watched the Badass ABC series, you'll see that I believe it's in it's the first lesson. of each letter where it ends with a little clip of me in the goofy blue outfit, and I have the pole and I have the rose, and what I'm doing is speaking to my bodily kinesthetic learners that you can move your body and actually make the shape of the letter. Okay, so find your prop, find your thing, and spell it out. Okay, let's see from the camera, how would it be, right? You go C, okay, and I have my pole, and I lean in and I do the rose, A, and then I can come up in front of the pole and I can go T. Get your body moving. Get your body moving with it. What was another one? Oh, this one cracked me up. I had to grab this. Okay, those of you who work out, look at this little tinky winky little thing. I don't work out. I'm one of those, people in their 40s who have all of the weight equipment and don't use it, right? I think we're the higher population, okay? But hey, if you seriously are one of those athletic people, well, do it. Spell that word cat. Whatever you're spelling, C, A, T. Get some sweat in there, baby. Get some sweat in there. T, oh, capital T, okay? Get in there. For those of you who are teachers, get the basketball, get the soccer ball, get a baseball, whatever that child can hold, and get that kid moving and practicing those spelling words. They'll love it, guaranteed. What else do we got? We are on 3 more to go. Okay, musical. They like to think with rhymes and melodies. They love singing, whistling, humming, tapping their feet and hands. They like listening. They like listening to the tone of voice. They like to hear the pleasant tone of voice from a teacher. They can be upset if the tone changes. Okay? Those kids that are humming, figure out how to let them hum, is what I can say, because they can interact with their learning much more if they're humming. They need sing-along time, they need trips to the concert, they need music playing all the time at home and at school, and musical instruments. We are going to have I believe it's lesson 8, is where we're going to be doing lyrical linguistics, and that's to respect all of our musical learners who are in the Badass ABC program. So if you're someone, or your student is someone that sounds like these things fit, how can you learn your spelling words being a musical person? What did I put down for musical? Did I miss one? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I think I missed musical. Oh, there it is. Okay, so for musical, since I actually don't know a lot of suggestions, the best thing that came to my mind was the lyrical linguistics to teach. But what about when you have your spelling words? Well, you know how most of us, when we're practicing spelling words, another good thing to do is once you have the spelling word, another way to practice your spelling is where you write it in a sentence. Well, instead of writing it in a sentence, it'd be so much greater if that musical person turned it into a song lyric, right? So that that musical person is actually much more in tune with coming up with rhyming words, right? Rap is all about taking one word and finding a word that rhymes and finding another word that rhymes. Well, that's one of the greatest things about the lyrical linguistics thing is if I take a hip-hop song, I'm like, okay, I wanted to teach the rule up here with this word, but guess what? The next line ends with the same sound, the next line ends with the same sound. So the best thing that I can suggest is for that person for that student or yourself to try to write a lyric. Take the spelling word, try to write a lyric, and you might find some more words that rhyme with it and hopefully are spelled the same way. So that was the best idea that I came up with. And listen to music. Listen to music and try, those of you who are in the Badass ABC program, as you learn the sounds of each of the letters of the alphabet and you go back to your favorite song, I want you to be listening for where that letter is in that favorite song of yours. Okay, how about 2 more? Okay, people get tripped up on this one. That's why I saved it for last. Interpersonal and intrapersonal. Interpersonal, intrapersonal. Interpersonal is they like talking with other people. It's interpersonal. They like to think by communicating with other people, bouncing ideas off of other people. Intrapersonal. Intra is inside themselves. The conversation is happening inside themselves. The more common way that we would describe that type of learning style is an extrovert, somebody who's very outgoing, versus an introvert, somebody who likes to live in their own world. Look at me. I'm having a complete conversation, but in reality, nobody's in the room with me. I am actually intrapersonal. I'm very introverted, actually. I can just communicate interpersonally. So let's cover interpersonal learners. These students or yourself, you're always talking with other people. You feel lonely if you have not communicated with other people. You're like coming up with a reason to go to the grocery store and run into somebody and have a conversation. You love leading, organizing, relating, mediating, partying. Okay, you love communicating with people. You need friends, group games, social gatherings, community events and clubs, mentors, apprenticeships, etc. So that game that I was describing earlier, where you're working with somebody else and you write out the spelling word and then 5 seconds and then, okay, your turn, try to write it. That's an interpersonal activity. Linguistic, but it is also interpersonal when you're doing it with another person. Man, I liked practicing spelling words that way. With the kids, it was just awesome. It was awesome. Because they were having fun. It wasn't work. So my suggestions for interpersonal, okay, is that whiteboard game. Those of you who have been in the Badass ABC program, we'll be doing the hangman game, where you put the lines of you don't know what the word is, and you're playing the hangman to guess what spelling word is in the list. That one's a fun one. It's a fun one because you have so much conversation while you're trying to figure it out, and your brain, even while you're having the conversation and having a fun time, you're like, yeah, what of my spelling words does have that many letters in it? What could it be? And your brain is trying to put together the rule. Okay, I got an E. That means is that one going to have where the E makes the A say its name? Okay, that's what your brain is doing when you're playing hangman, but you're not thinking about it because you're having a fun time chatting. And let's see, interpersonal, and it's just the way it is. Spelling tests are interpersonal. Spelling tests are interpersonal. The teacher is telling you what word is next, and then the student is writing it down. So anything that you can do to bring in a person and play a game. And like I've mentioned before, watching Wheel of Fortune with a friend, you're going to learn so much you're going to pick up so many hints about the English language just by watching Wheel of Fortune. And actually, when I tried to find Wheel of Fortune, I found that Wheel of Fortune has its own YouTube channel. So you can watch those for free on YouTube. And when I tried to look it up on Amazon.com, there was like so many games. There was so many different kinds of games. So if you are an interpersonal, talky person, follow up with, there's a lot of stuff out there for you. Okay, and the last one that we're going to cover is that introverted intrapersonal. Okay, that person who enjoys the internal dialogue that they're having with themselves. They love setting goals. They love dreaming. They do love being quiet. That's not me. And they do love planning. Okay? We've talked many times, those who are in the Badass ABC program, it has taken me a long, long time to put together the curriculum for this program. And that is what I like to do. Even if I get frustrated, I enjoy the internal dialogue that's going on. They need, interpersonal learners need a secret place. They like time alone, and they like self-paced projects, and they do like choices. So like I said, in reality, I'm actually in this room by myself, but this room is an entire office where I am surrounded by my project, the project that I'm working on, different charts and things, books, resources. It's a rich environment to me. So that intrapersonal learner just needs their own space. So I'm going to, excuse my reach, okay? You got to make it special, okay? Do something that, if you're that intrapersonal, make this entire program, make your spelling list something personal. This is my book where I put all of the resources. After I create the worksheets, they go into my special book because it's going to be my special collection when I'm done. Do the same thing with your spelling list. Have a special book. I actually bought that binder at Staples. Like, it was on clearance. I bought it for like $2, and I was like, what? It's got glitter. It's like really badass. It just makes me happy. It's my intrapersonal world. So my spelling, if you're on the spelling list, but like for me, I'm making the worksheets. I make the worksheet. It took a lot of hard work. I print it and I put it in my album. So make it special for you. This is another book that I created. This is actually the first book that I created, Adult ABCs, where I first started organizing all of my resources. Okay, it's very personalized. I took a long time to make it. I saw this picture of this girl, and I saw this on the cover of Elle, and I was like, you know what? That's the attitude that I want for my badass ABCs. And I look at it all the time. Create your own environment where your goal is identified. Make it personal. This is on my desk all the time. I see this picture of this, I don't even know who she is, but I just see the attitude, and it reminds me of where we're going, and that it's badass ABCs. So I hope that's making sense. An intrapersonal person has their own world, their own environment that they have created in their head. And anything that you can do to acknowledge that and give yourself or give your students space for that is very encouraging to the intrapersonal person. If you give them a folder and you tell them, no writing on it, it has to be clean and perfect on the outside, that limits that person's expression of themselves. They like to express themselves on their own things and in their own world. So you do the same thing. So even though that intrapersonal person is probably one of your best students, they don't need much direction. They like doing it on their own. They do want choices. They do actually have a rich internal world, even if they're not talking about it out loud. So the intrapersonal learner, you give them a dictionary. You give them the spelling word and give them a dictionary. They'll sit there for hours. Okay, I'll write the definition out because it's all by myself. It's all by myself. Give me my list. I'm going to learn how to use my dictionary, and I'm going to write out the definition. I don't even know how to spell most of these words that are in the dictionary, but I'm going to copy them down. And I'm going to learn the other letters in the alphabet as I go along. And again, those interpersonal learners are those students or yourself that like to come up with a sentence. Use the word in a sentence. In fact, I remember one time, gosh, what grade was I in? 10th grade? Like, I was up there. I was like in 10th grade, and we had to use our spelling word in a sentence. And so every single sentence that I wrote was inappropriate. It was. Okay, so for example, at that 10th grade level, one of my spelling words was perforated. perforated. Perforated means you broke a hole through something. So my sentence that I wrote, and yes, I do remember this clearly, the sentence that I wrote was, he farted so hard that it perforated his pants. Well, I'm in 10th grade. I didn't use a cuss word, nothing, but the next year when I was in the principal's office asking how I could take my GED and get the heck out of Dodge, because I hated high school. How do I get out of here? When I'm talking to the principal, she pulls out my folder, and that assignment from my 10th grade year was in the folder. Like I had been, like they had put me as a student on high alert because of the sentences I had wrote. Do you see what I mean? Interpersonal learners, we got a rich world going on inside. Okay, so just give them the freedom to take that time by themselves. If you're the adult learner, have fun with it, babes. You're a grown-up, and you're not going to get sent to the principal's office for fart jokes. Okay, that's my breakdown. Hope it was helpful. As an adult, when I was teaching, this theory coming out not only helped my students enjoy learning more, but it opened my mind to the things that I enjoyed and had not realized that I enjoyed them and that I could elaborate on them and enjoy my life more. Just reading this book gave me more ideas about how to enjoy my own life more and how to enjoy learning something, especially, you know, like when I got to college and you're like, oh my God, I hope I pass this class. This is hard. Knowing my own learning style helped me. It helped me take some information that was extremely difficult to understand and turn it into a different way to learn it so that I could, you know, survive and do well and actually get the information in. So I truly hope that this video is helpful for you, and if you are an adult wanting to go through the Badass ABC program, be sure to subscribe to our channel. Hop over to the Facebook page and like the page so you can get alerts on both of those forums that we are posting more videos. And if you are an adult who is an educator of children, thank you so much for finding my video. Don't share it with your students. Alright, thank you so much.